What's going on YouTube? Mike here with I Heart Knives. Today we're going to talk about a quick overview on the Spyderco Southard. Titanium frame lock flipper. Obviously Spyderco's a manufacturer. The steel on it is CTS 204P. Hollow ground. It is it's an awesome knife. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. There's little compromise with it. Not like the best cutter I've ever had, but you know, it's a good knife. It's pretty much a utility knife. That's what it was made for. It's not like my sliciest knife, but it does the job, and I'm not afraid that I'm gonna like break it or, you know, beat the hell out of it. Not that I would, but you know, it could take a little bit of abuse. The tip is, it's not thick, but it's beefy. You know, the blade itself it's a beefy blade, but it's hollow ground, so you get a good amount of edge performance out of it in that regard. It's a good steel. Sorry, the dog is scratching right now, of course. She has to wait until I start doing a video to make a lot of noise. I did a previous video on 3 Spyderco flippers that I love, and this is one of them. The other is the Domino, and the last one is the Mantra. I was saying in there that this has like the smoothest flipping action out of all 3, and it does. It doesn't have the strongest detent. It doesn't have so when you go to flip a knife, you have to build up pressure if you don't have a flipper. This one, you need the least amount of build up on your finger when you go to flip it. You can light switch it and push button it. It's incredibly easy. You can middle finger flick it. I did it in the last video. Hopefully actually I won't be able to now. I did it, but it was kind of soft lock up. You can thumb flick it, and it's pretty easy. If you have smaller fingers, the middle finger flick is probably going to be easier for you. For me, see, there was a fail. For me, it's tough to get my finger in this part right here. You can see that you don't get as much of the Spidey hole on the back side as you do on the front side. So it's, you know, you only get about half of the height of the Spidey hole on the back side. That's a small gripe I have with it. My biggest gripe would be the pocket clip. It's an awesome pocket clip when it comes to like sliding in and out of jeans, in and out of like work pants. If you wear dress pants, this isn't going to be an issue. It has good retention. You can hear that. Good retention. Stonewashed titanium, so when it slides in, and this is like a buffed stonewash finish on the pocket clip, so there's no resistance when your pocket slides up into the pocket clip. You do get a decent amount of knife showing. So if you're in an area that you want to hide the knife, I'm not sure if they make any aftermarket pocket clips for this, but if they do, I'd probably suggest getting like a deep carry if they make one. That's what I really like about the Mantra, and the Domino doesn't have one, but you can use a pair of 3 or a pair of 2 pocket clip. I got one off eBay. It's a titanium one, and it works really good. I'm curious to see, this is going to be like kind of an overview. I want to do a full-blown review once I have more time with this. I'm curious to see how the 204P compares to other knife steels. Everyone loves Bowler M390, CTS 204P. I guess we'll see what happens with it. I have high hopes for it. I'm not going to set my expectations that high with it, just because I've heard a lot of, not complaints, but people say that Bowler M390 and like the CTS 204P, they need a higher Rockwell number, like 61, 62. They can get higher than that, like I want to say 64 you can get as a working hardness, with a good heat treat though. I want to say the Spydercos are, I don't know if they actually tell us, but I know people have had them Rockwell tested, and I think they go right around like 59 to 61 in that range. I'd say probably 59 or 60, which is good. But if you don't push the steel to the, not to the limit, but close to the limit when it comes to Rockwell hardness, you're not going to get full potential out of it. That's what Big Brown Bear is doing now. He's pushing every steel to the absolute limit when it comes to behind the edge thickness and Rockwell hardness. And I listened to Ferrum Forge talk about Rockwell hardness and how that's just one piece of to this puzzle of knife steel. And it's true. It's not like the be all end all of performance in a knife. Steel has a lot to do with it, but if you don't unlock the full potential of the steel by getting the heat treat to its best ability, the knife steel is not going to perform that well. I mean, it just is what it is. But I'm really excited to see how this 204P ends up out of this Southard. I know it's an older knife. I haven't had it very long. I sold off a couple other knives. One of them being the Chaparral that just didn't do it for me. It was a little too small for me. The Southard is just an all-around good work knife. I'm not afraid to carry it. I'm not afraid to use it. It's not a safe queen. The Brown G10, I could take it or leave it. It's not the ugliest G10. It's got good grip, like the tactile feels good. It's not sharp, but it's also not dull. Like my Para 2 and my Para 3, over time the G10 loses its grip. In the beginning it feels sharp. Over time it wears down to not quite as smooth G10, but this seems like it's holding up better. The contouring's better. They have a little indent here for your thumb to get your thumb in for the Spidey hole. So it's well thought out in that regard. Obviously it's a flipper, so you don't need to use your thumb, but I don't really have any complaints about this knife as of yet. I have heard that the lockup, over time the lock bar will go to 100%, since we don't have a steel insert, and it will wear down over time, being that the knife steel is harder than the titanium. Right now I'm probably somewhere between 50 and 60%, maybe even 65, I guess. But the geometry on the lock is good in that, because the blade, the geometry goes this way and the lock bar goes in that same direction, but since the blade geometry where the lock bar meets is canted, wouldn't be the word, but since the slant in it comes down pretty far, as this gets pushed over, it's going to max out at some point. As that lock bar gets pushed, it's just going to make the lock stronger. So I'd rather have late lockup than early lockup where, it's locking up at like 10% and a little spine whack and the thing just, closes on me. So I'd rather have it lock up at 60% than 10%. So I'm hoping that the geometry holds up and that the titanium doesn't wear away too quickly. It does have an over travel stop on this backside. It's not the prettiest looking over travel stop, but it gets the job done. Matches the brown G10. Sorry about that rain that keeps happening. Obviously, somebody's in the front yard. Yeah, nice hollow ground. Again, no complaints. We'll see what happens with it in the future. First impressions, I recommend the knife. We'll see what the review, let's say a month down the line or a few weeks down the line brings. As of now, no complaints. I'm loving it. So if I like it as much as I like my Manix 2s and my Domino, this is going to be a keeper for sure. And we'll just have to see what happens. Alright guys, thanks for coming along on this overview of the Spyderco Southard. Hope you guys have a great day. And thanks for watching me on I Heart Knives. Have a good one.